successively and become a mandala of black space, a green wind mandala, a red fire mandala, a white water mandala, and a yellow earth mandala. Above these appears a broom, and from this arises an enlightenment stupa made of diamonds. Its nature is the Sanskrit vowels and consonants. It blazes with light rays, and in the center of its bulbous upper section is a hung. From this arises a golden double vajra, and in the center of its hub, which is a globe of 2 half spheres, there is a seat of a lotus, a moon disk, and a sun disk. Upon this is a 5-pronged vajra radiating light. In its hub is a hung, whose radiating light becomes a male and female yama, a water buffalo, and a wild bull, all stacked upon each other. And above these appear a lotus, a moon disk, and a sun disk. Upon this 3-layered seat arises the causal syllable, a blue hung. This becomes a 9-pronged meteoritic iron vajra, and in its hub is a dark blue hung. From this, light rays radiate and benefit oneself and others. They return and transform into the mantra, Om Akroteka Yamantaka Hung Pe. I become Manjushri Yamantaka, with a dark blue body and main face. My right face is white, the left is red, and my 9 eyes are red, round, and wide open. Black snakes adorn my ears, and my noses point upward with wrathful grimaces. My mouths are open, tongues curled, my 12 fangs are bared, and I roar with the sound Arali. My hair, eyebrows, and beard are orange and blaze with fire. In my 3 right hands I hold a wheel, a sword, and a vajra. In my left 3 hands I hold an iron hook, a wooden pestle, and make the threatening mudra, blazing with fire. Having 4 legs, I stand upright, with the right legs bent and the left ones outstretched. My heads are adorned with crowns of 5 dry skulls, where the 5 classes of Herukas abide. Above my head is a black wisdom Garuda, with a wrathful expression, a vajra beak, and eyes made of sun and moon. Its horns are made of meteoric iron, and a jewel adorns the space between them. Its hair blazes with a khaki color. The iron claws of its arms and legs hold a black and white snake, whose heads are bitten in its mouth. Beating its wings that have razor blade feathers, they blaze with an apocalyptic fire. Each of my pores are filled with black Garudas with fiery wings, and vajras that emit sparks. I wear a necklace made of 21 skulls and a garland of 51 fresh, blood-dripping heads that hang from the shoulders. On my upper torso, I wear an elephant hide, a human skin is tied around my waist, and my lower garment is a tiger skin. My hair is tied with white striped snakes. I wear yellow striped ones as bracelets, red striped ones as a belt, green striped ones as anklets, and black striped ones as a garland hanging over the shoulders. Human ash is smeared between my eyebrows and on my limbs. My cheeks and forehead are smeared with drops of human blood. My throat and chest are smeared with human fat. From the pores of my skin, emanated messengers are emitted, and I am surrounded by many millions of activity Yamantakas. I stand within a blazing mass of wisdom fire, which is emanated from my own body. In my heart center is a golden wheel with 4 spokes, on each of which sits a golden Manjushri. Seated in the Vajra posture, they each hold a sword in their right hand and a scripture in their left. Peaceful and radiant, their hair is tied in top knots, and they are adorned with silks and jewels. Facing inward, they perform the activities of protection. In the hub of the wheel is a seat of a lotus, a moon disk, and a sun disk. Upon that is a stupa made of various jewels from which light rays radiate. In the center of the stupa's bulbous upper section is a seat of a lotus, a moon disk, and a sun disk, upon which is a golden vajra. And its 5 upper prongs are the 5 family Buddhas, and in the 5 lower prongs are the 5 female Buddhas. In the hub of the vajra, a moon disk appears from the vowels, and a sun disk appears from the consonants. They form a globe of 2 half spheres. In its center is a drum syllable, in the center of which is a dark blue hung. Around that circles the mantra Eka Yama Duru Chakre. In the circle at the top of the hong is the guru. In the middle part of the hong is a nri, which is surrounded by the initials of oneself and others that need protection. In the lowest part of the hong are one's associates and possessions. All these appear clearly. From the hong in my heart center, wrathful male and female protectors emit, and they remain on my left and right. Facing inward, they form a protective sphere. From drum arises, so this is the 13 protective spheres, okay? From drum arises a golden protective sphere of 2 half spheres. Outside of that, from the syllables hong, om, tram, shri, ah, arise successively the protective spheres of blue vajras, white wheels, yellow jewels, red lotuses, and green double vajras. Outside of that, from tikshana, arises a sphere of sharp swords that fiercely spin counterclockwise. Outside of that, from the syllables yam, ram, bam, lam, a, arise successively the protective spheres of brown wind, red fire, white water, yellow earth, and black space. Outside of that is the protective sphere of a string of Yamantaka's mantras, the vowels, and consonants. These naturally utter the sound of indestructible emptiness, saying, "Kill all enemies and obstructors." These protective spheres appear clearly. At my forehead is a white om, in my throat a red ah, and in my heart center a blue hong. From these, light rays radiate to the 10 directions and invite the wisdom deities, who are identical to one's own visualization from their natural abodes, along with their retinue of protectors.
Om Yamantaka Sapare Vara Benza Samanza Nza Om Bang Ho La Kukang So So La So So Tempe Nise Me Parja.
They dissolve inseparably into the identical respective deities and protective spheres.
Om Yamantaka Sapare Vara Samaya Dida Ade Bho Bade Zaho Om Benza Hargam Baden Bebe Bebe Aloge Gende Nevede Shabda Bade Zazova Benza Anerda Mahamalenda Mamsa Rakta Zita Korotsana Basurta Kenerete Kaye Bodhe Jita Madam Rudra Draveshaya
fangs and a vigilant, terrifying form. You conquer the arrogant Yama. I pay homage and praise Yamantaka.
Om Yamaranza Samaya Manupalaya Yamaranza Tinoba Titandre Meba Sudokaya Mebawa Sobojayo Mebawa Anarato Mebawa Sawasede Mebrayata Sawakarma Sutame Sitanshayam Kuru Ho Ha Ha Ho Bangavai Yamaranza Mamemenza Yamaranza Bhavama Samaya Sato Deje Tendo Korje Yenje Dokpa Jen Tamje Tuje La La Nubadan Yenje Zeten Rengadye Mazokben Tutsege Wangdan Dembo.
The 8 classes of gods and demons are bound to servitude. All malicious ones can now be destroyed at the same time through compassion, and I am endowed with the power and strength to overcome other sorcery and spells.
Tendo Tampien Jambar Yeshe Samba Nido Demane Lenje Dobo.
The entire universe is a protective spheres. The inhabitants, all sentient beings, are Yamantakas. All sounds are the natural sound of the mantra. All thoughts exist primordially and spontaneously as the wisdom deity Manjushri. From my heart. Oh.
Not there, stop there. Now, page 19.
In English? 19 in English. It is good to do this mantra recitation with the visualization described in the utterly secret oral instructions on the regular deity practice from the secret Moon Tantra. Visualize yourself as Yamantaka. In your heart center is a sun disk, upon which is a blue 5-pronged vajra. In its hub is a dark blue hung syllable, surrounded by the mantra to be recited. When reciting the mantra, the sun disk and the vajra with the hung do not move, while the mantra garland circles clockwise, fiercely, fast, and unceasingly. Light radiates from the mantra garland, the seed syllable, and the vajra. It makes pleasing offerings to all the gurus, Idam deities, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma protectors, and guardians. It gathers all their blessings, wisdom, love, and power, and dissolves back into the mantra garland and seed syllable. Again, light radiates, and by touching the 6 classes of sentient beings, their negativities and obscurations are purified, and they are established in the state of the wisdom deity Manjushri. The light gathers all their longevity, merit, wealth, life force, bodies, strength, and the power of their luck, and all the vitality and potency of the 5 elements, which dissolve back into the mantra garland and seed syllable. Again, light radiates, and by touching all the enemies, obstructors, and harm doers, they are overpowered and bound into servitude. Those who have not joined them are annihilated. The light gathers all their abundance, which dissolves into the mantra garland and seed syllable. The mantra garland circles. The mantra garland circles.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now recite mantra. Om Vado Teka Yamantaka 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 Om Vado Teka Wado the Gayamila Home, Wado the Gayamila Home, Wado the Gayamila Home, Oado de Gayamindaga Humbe, 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 Oado de Oado de Gayamindaga Humbe, Oado de Gayamindaga Humbe, Oado de Gayamindaga Humbe, Oado de Gayamindaga Humbe, Oado de Gayamindaga Oado de Gayamindaga Humbe, 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 Oado de Oado de Gayamindaga Humbe, 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 Oado de Gayamindaga Oado de Gayamindaga Humbe, 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 Oado de Oado de Gayamindaga Humbe, 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 Indi Mikpa de Zo Sipakap Zo Tsama Kyapchik de Ji Goga Yo Mare, Yonga Mare, Tangpo Dodye Te Gom, Dodye Te Nga Bat, Nyemadin La Dodye Te Gom, Dodye Te Wate La Hong Te Gom, Yo. Teni Te Kala To Te Ka Yo Patende, Ji Tangpo Mikpa Tende Gom. Teni Yongan Dona, Teni Ngantreng Te Yes, Teni Zikor, Teni Ramba Yin De Ji Kore.
You're not going to be able to maintain the entirety of that visualization at once. So you visualize, you focus upon, while you're repeating the mantra, the 5-pointed vajra on the seats in your heart center. In the hub, in the hollow portion of the vajra, there's the hong syllable. And if that is stable, if you can do that, then you visualize the mantra garland, Om Atrateka Yamantaka Hong Pet. And if that's good, then the mantra garland rotates, step by step.
Oado de Gayamindaga Humbe, 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 Ngazo Namju, Nyimpa, Nyi, Dropa, Dripchin, Zun, Rumba, Yehega Yorova. Chiranga, Nyimek the Gond, Sao Hongdang. Tintala Nime the Yabu Gom Tokondona, Tira Nimpan Dori. Then it is Jenny, Dan Cortokondona, Nyanin Dori. Ramba Yewa. Then it was a drone, then on Mambo Sondwa, was a drone like I say, Dona, Japan Dori. Listen, Mikpa Ramba in the Ya Yadian Rodi, Nimpan to go Yore, Nyanin to go Yore, Japan to go Yore. The need Gini Sangaka Tonda Hakone. The Senti Tam Chetani Yadam ta yewa me pa reisha samne ke ti chirang ko tong ma tom ka drup chin ro ko yore. Te ha ko go yore. Yin jing min jing nin pa la ni drupa to so la nga ka ka chi da. Ten go me na ya.
In general, in generation stage, there are 4 sections or 4 progressions. There's approach, close approach, accomplishment, and great accomplishment. So even in a single mantra, you can go through these progressions. So when you are meditating upon the seed syllable Hong, that is the approach.
No, mantra galen together. Seed syllable and mantra.
Okay.
Mantra galen. If you're able to visualize in that, then you okay. The approaching is you complete it. Then Someone tang hang kor nga kor dewa the gom to kondona nimpan to read. Then nga tin kor to kondona jo po kor to kondona nyenin to read. They also drop the seed to kondona drapan to read.
Okay. So if you are able to hold the visualization of the seed syllable and the mantra garland well, then that is the approach phase. Then if the mantra garland is able to rotate, is able to means you're able to hold your mind on the rotation of the mantra garland, then that is the close approach. Then if you're able to visualize that light rays emanate from the rotation of the mantra garland, and there's lots of detail in this text about exactly what is being accomplished when the light rays emanate, then, and you're able to really hold your mind on that visualization, then that is the accomplishment phase. So it should be a step-by-step progression through approach, close approach, and accomplishment. And then if you're able to do that like gradually over time, eventually, if you're able to actually come to the meaning of secret mantra, that all living beings are truly inseparable from the nature of the Yiram deity, and you abide within that meaning, then that is great accomplishment. So even if you don't do all the different mantras for each section, you can do it step by step within one mantra.
Drupchinga kap te song do senu tam chi shin kam nang sem chin tam chi yadam ga la dra tam chi nga chi dra ten song do ti tong da ka la ko yo resna chirang sem chin chama ta sanje ge te jo sanje chi yo pa la tin te ne kap chin chung chung chi la tin ta sem chi cha song ri ma to chama ma ye te Yadam Sanje ta Chikpa Yinsun, Ti Tawa ki Tentini, or Chama Takwan Roll and Tong Tokundona. Teni Ti Sanun Jiktina, take Tong Toko Yore, Naju Senji and take the Takwa Lala take and Tong to Yore, Dra Hala and take a Tong to Yore, Yin Major Dra Chama, Hana Yikoma Dena and Yore, Tela Yore, Sangak Gomba.
In the case of great accomplishment, it is described as seeing all of the outer universe as a pure realm, all the beings living therein as Yiram deities, all sounds as mantra. So that is the meaning that's described. And if you think about it, because all living beings possess the seed of Buddhahood, that at this very moment might be temporarily small, it's true, actually, that all living beings are actually the same as Yiram deities and Buddhas. And so in this training of secret mantra, we train into seeing the purity that is truly there. We see the outer universe to be the pure realm, the inner beings living there to be deities. So the purity of the outer universe, the purity of living beings, and then the purity of sound is described as sound as mantra. So it's not necessarily literally hearing mantras. So that's the point of secret mantra.
가짜야 가서 지금 들어와지나 랩송아. 가제는 뭐 지금 왕 가래이나 효고를 송송스. 왕제 휴네더니 제와든라 산제 레버멘트 거리 송송스. 대 가래리. 럼보체 그때 따오는 통거요래. 가래리서는 럼보체 따와 상하게 따와 땡사보 또 저디. 나도 담아버센지 담지 레라오. 산제 레차야 레라오리다 대 하고요래. 고렉. 될 세상요 말에. 근데 그때 송거 요리 띵띵 제와든 왕제 휴네 냠는 가요 맞으나 제와든 그 제네더니 상하고 동동 던드스는 때문에 전에던데 코렉 따와베 상하고 따와 땡사보 도차도 베 레라오 가서 센티 담지 산제 차야라 레라오 잘도 동거 요래. 대리 안 가해 될 이치요 말에. 대 가해 이치 매매때 나상하고 따와들 대자게 제 카가 랍데바리마도 운에단에 생각되는 데이터 또요 말해봐. 된다이나 되니 레라오 요 말해봐. 타마버심지 산제 차야를 된다 레라오 요 말을 상거봐. 대상하게 따와 등운에단에 그때 양다바리 또 마도 제박이 연거에 살이 상고동에 상들어봐.
Yesterday there was a question regarding something Garchen Rinpoche has said, which is that no matter which empowerment you receive, it will ripen into Buddhahood in 7 lifetimes. So what is that about? That's because Garchen Rinpoche has truly realized in a very profound level the view of secret mantra. That though we may appear to be ordinary sentient beings, it's actually quite easy for us to transform into Buddhas. And he has no doubt about it. And so he's saying from his real sight that in 7 lifetimes, from having received any empowerment, we will become a Buddha. Because the secret mantra view of purity is so fully realized in his vision that for him it looks very easy for us. We're like ready to become Buddhas. And he has no doubt about it. But there are others who don't possess that kind of conviction, who may espouse the secret mantra teachings from their mouths, but don't have that kind of realization in their minds. And for them, it doesn't look so easy. So I think the difference lies in the profundity of realization in the secret mantra view.
Okay. Om Adoteka Yamendaka Hombe 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 O Adoteka Yamendaka Hombe 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 Adoteka O Adoteka Yamendaka Hombe, 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 O Adoteka Yamendaka O Adoteka Yamendaka Hombe, 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 O Adoteka Yamendaka Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe, 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 water the Gayami the Gombe. Water the Gayami the Gombe. Tanga zon sam deni jinsek logo tango yorwa. Jinsek tangde te pecha yore te ina tata labjan mi pasi tangte. Tambo ngarang so 소소게 깡바니 근티라래 봐. 깡바게 샤라. 얌 이게 얌르레 공고래. 되니 때와라 람제 요래. 람. 되니 닌카라 빰 나보제 요래. 깡바 샵그 얌때 롱거라지래 봐. तेवा का राम ते मेरा ये रे यंगा ला पाम यो जो ते दिखपा के सामो रे मासो दिखपा मगेवा के सामो रे ते तब जे मे पास है ना Teni kangpa xiab ka long ka yam soji te long ka kolo long ko na yin kone, rwa. Long ko na yin kone, te ka teni long te yaan ro, te wa ka me te ya bar, xiok che zan bar. Te wa ka me te ya xiok che zan si yung tu, te nyingka ka pam te, yaan ro ne, ya te ne, nai so tong ko re. Te na ko la, pam te yaan ro ne, nga so ka na lep du, koro dikpa raja ka namba. Dikpa raja ka namba te san. Teni te ji nga tsu wok xiok che sam tsu, seni pa tong ka psu, te dikpa raja te tel le tem song sang ko, ter. Yin se ka ze yor wa. Dambo te taw si ko re.
So now we're going to move on to the fire puja. And even though we have texts, I'm going to briefly describe the visualization. So you're still the deity. So in your 2 feet, there is a syllable yam on both soles of your feet, which is the nature of wind or air. In your navel is a syllable. Oh, okay. Sorry, you don't visualize yourself as a deity at this moment of the fire puja. So you're in your ordinary form. In the bottom of the soles of each feet is a yam syllable, the nature of wind. In your navel is a ram syllable, the nature of fire. And in your heart is a black palm syllable, palm, which is the seed of all your misdeeds and negativity. So you visualize that this yam syllable on the soles of your feet as wind starts to churn, and it kicks up all this wind, and this wind moves up your body into the fire, into the ram syllable, setting it ablaze. It burns very intensely, and once it burns intensely, this fire travels up to the black palm in your heart, and that makes it come up to your nostrils. At this point, it becomes scorpions. So at your nostrils it becomes scorpions, and you exhale a bit forcefully, like, and you visualize that the scorpions come out of your nostrils and go into the seeds that are the materials of the fire offering.
Tani te jini ta nga so me yorwa. Me de ta 신제 그 증코당 대나로는 양발 신제 시제 공고 요래. 매대 신제. 신제 대값이 개업값이 신제도 공도 깔보가 공고 요래. 신제 양발 신제 공도 깔보지. 드니 대나한테는 가서 그땅 다yin 드니 티 때때 매는 봐. 멜스게 요러와. 전대에서 되더니 신제가 샬라 포요 삼바선. 드니 신제가 다 간다서는 득바도 장토고 요래서는 게 가장 라비야 봐. 잠바 신제 때더니 아란초그 릭바크 람종그 릭바크 대다버그지 라인제르와 드니 아주 득바선도 저때 마렉 바라와 마렉 바뉴몽 독섬 동알라서 드니 뉴몽 바테 메바 람종 그 릭바테게 띵울라 드니 뉴몽 바테 용거 요 말아와 던데스네 장로요.
There will be a fire before us, and that fire is to be visualized as the mandala of Yamantaka. So we visualize that the fire itself is Manjushri Yamantaka, who should be visualized white in color in this context of the pacifying. Yeah. So as we repeat the mantra during the fire puja, we'll be offering the seeds into the fire. And you should think that you are offering this negativity of these seeds into the mandala to be purified. So how can Manjushri Yamantaka purify our negativity and misdeeds? It is, as we said yesterday, Manjushri Yamantaka kind of is emblematic of our naturally occurring awareness. Misdeeds and negativities come from our non-recognition or unawareness. So that's true of the afflictions and the three poisons. So these afflictions, in the face of our naturally occurring awareness, can no longer occur. So that's the way that Yamantaka purifies.
Okay. How goes one?
You get it?
Oh, good. So good. Oh, stop here.
Okay.
Take a short break.
Okay.
Then start the fire puja. Okay, fire. And the text. Yeah, text.
Yeah, but bring in. So show him that we're ready because he doesn't know. Yeah. I only had two. I didn't know Sarah.
Okay, and which text? On the table here?
Yeah, put something.
Some was table.
What's that? Oh, okay.
Pass out the world peace prayer.
What?
He gave you a transmission just to bop on the head.
That's yes.
Gabby long? Some one book of it?
Yeah, something
Translate.
it's not too far.
The Kabul is 6 huge books though. It's like 11 volumes in Tibet. It's like, there's no way he just did that. Take like, oh, okay. In the text that we can work with. Okay. There's a lot of Kabul, like you think of chickens. Actually, yeah. Oh no, yeah. The problem, His Holiness Chaitanya Sutra was saying, the other masters in the cadre, at least different cadres, besides Padma Drupa and Jigin Sumbun's collected work they call Sumbun. The problem is because these texts are based on the sutras, actually. There's two sutras, the Avatamsaka and the Ratnakuta sutras, they're direct, like, the one like the Buddhist teaching. That's awesome. Yeah. But there's other stuff, there's Tantric and Six Yogas, and Five Mahamudra, and Five Bodhidharma. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You might be doing it outside. Well, he's sitting out there by the fire now.
That's an amazing.
So nobody's sure what's going on.
Translate the Yamantaka. Like, dude, that's no joke. Like, you know how good your knowledge would have to be of the language to do that. In this case, it was Chinese. Yeah.
That's massive.
Yeah.
It's Chinese too.
Yeah. He's passed away. I looked him up. Haitian.
Hey,
Hey.
good to see you.
You too.
We're gonna go outside.
You do it there?
We are.
Okay.
Oh, we're
So
doing
if
it
someone
outside?
has a phone, they could join Zoom and we could bring our Zoom friends outside.
Okay.
I have a phone.
With the Zoom room?
I don't know. It would take me a minute to find it, but I could try to find it.
Yes. Shay's decided that we're gonna do the fire offering outside now.
We're doing it outside.
We're gonna do it outside.
Okay.
And so, and we were just preparing. And so, shall I bring his blindfold and his phone?
Definitely all of these things here. I can help.
Are we gonna start in here, then go outside?
It looks like we're just doing it outside.
He's seated now, outside. Yeah.
Sounds right.
If you want to go outside, okay?
Catherine, can you convey what quickly we can do this Zoom, because everyone's gonna be waiting.
That's okay.
No, I had put it there because
Ricochet?
I thought we were doing.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Ricochet? We're trying to figure out the Zoom so we can do it outside so people can see online.
Leave your
Just-
phone, and then I'll leave your phone.
I don't know, can I use, will mine work?
Great, all good. And then we're gonna mute the temple, and we're gonna unmute you.
Now for the exciting part.
You need something? Wi-Fi password too?
Yes.
It's 'cause he'll need that.
Here it is.
Okay.
Yep.
Where is text?
Text.
I have one right here.
Okay. Here it is. I have this.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Let me see. Oh, you can hear me. Wonderful. Hi, this is Catherine Dyer, and we are moving outside. Ricochet is going to do a fire offering outside, and we are using the text. I believe we're using the text, a single substance fire offering of Manjushri Yamantaka. Like this one. And we are just in the midst of setting up. It's quite spontaneous, but a beautiful fire has been made and prepared for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring a cell phone outside so that you all can see and join us. I hope you could hear me. I'll type it in the chat and I'll meet you outside.
Which one do we use?
Single substance.
Oh, this one, okay. Do you have some of this? Or do we-
I don't have any on me.
Oh, okay.
It's nice to see you.
Reverse the screen so it's pointing out. Is that possible? Deleted.
What is your?
Should be under Jared Williams, G-E-R-D.
Yeah, the Zoom, there's like 4 minutes, 5 minutes the most.
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah, and I'm spotlight you.
Okay, boss, good. Right. Yeah, you got to get help out. Get help. Okay, that's that one. That was good. You were a rip ball here in front. Okay, that's it. Yes. So, we all put our inside. Mama, I don't need hot bread. Bread okay or no? Yes. Yes. May I have text? No, it has text. Yes. Fair text. Say, should I pass out world peace prayer? Or should we do that later? Yeah, do it. Don't. Oh, yes. Yeah, you can look at it if you want. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. No, no, I just want. You practice on my phone like this because there was an extra copy that I got. Okay. First, I read the paper, then we'll read the language, okay?
我们嘎拉日巴亚马ranza hong pe，我们说巴瓦学代萨瓦达玛说巴瓦觉得海东北岸人等的州来送我掏空东北家车港瓦三十车些吧。这些班车开车当街不，人家婆妈买车辆别买你的地了，给这个江电的讲吧，现在是更多车车大高啊，小生啥着小姐这吧，家里我要嘛我各当的吧，啥着也送破了啥子，用生。家教等行等咱们这把发展都出去，节进步，那种文化风格承包了误解。 也就把它忘了点着。嗯
From within, so at the very bottom, from within the state of emptiness, the symbol.
Boom appeared front. This arrives the circular hearth, 1 cubit width and half a cubit in depth, complete with a rim and legs. At its center, upon a seat of a male and female Yama, water buffaloes and a lotus with a sun disk. In an instant appears the Bhagavan Nijishi Yamantaka. His body is white as crystal, with 3 faces, 6 arms, 4 legs, red wide. His right face is blue. His left face is red. The central face matches the color of his body. His 3 right hands hold a wheel, seat, and Bible.
Slap.
Syllables. Light radiates from these inviting the wisdom deities and the deities of power.
我们的北北大地在耶稣吧，我们的北北大地在耶稣吧，我们的阿鲁给大地在耶稣吧，我们的北北大地在耶稣，我们的那边的大地在耶稣吧，那红光，大爷也没得救，忘给了这拉玛木就被。还给了王国，世界大学那么就被我见白就。
The commitment being, the commitment being.
The wisdom beings become inseparable. The empowerment deities bestow absolution water. It overflows, its head is adorned.
Yamantaka sapare vara adinda de zaye sova. Yamantaka sapare vara padenda de zaye sova. Yamantaka sapare vara pepe pade zaye sova. Yamantaka sapare vara pepe pade zaye sova. Yamantaka sapare vara aloke pade zaye sova. Yamantaka sapare vara ngene pade zaye sova. Yamantaka sapare vara nevede pade zaye sova. Yamantaka sapare vare chata pati chaya ko. Tenchen ramba shinchen jombe la nam pula la de tenpa tokwen sonja na so sanam. Kanje shinche che la jomba.
Great deity, beautifully blazing, their majestic brilliance blazes brighter than 100,000 suns, holding various weapons in their hands. Fire, great and offer praise.
Okay, now we need to visualize it just like
That's what you said.
said inside. Okay. 让他们的干部部的养人龙月，这个多么美白，那个这个说我一个帮那不那把人过话多么没把那大的把这个当成人家你不错的，你没的呢，那个的过了，天天那把得了的吧就。
Beneath the feet of one ordinary form.
Husband, father, unite in one flavor. One's heart is a black palm syllable, hate activity. Imagine that all the accumulations of negative actions, obscuration, care, finite, all on beginning with cyclic existence until today are consumed or left out by the fire. When they exit through the nostrils, the scorpion dissolves itself in their feet.
Om 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 Arodaka Yamantaka Home Sava Papam Pana Pamenkura Soba Om Advoteka Yamantaka Om Sarva Papam Dahana Bamim Guru Om Bova Om Advoteka Yamantaka Om Sarva Papa Dahana Bamim Guru Bova Om Advoteka Yamantaka Om Sarva Papam Dahana Bamim Guru Bova Om Advoteka Yamantaka Om Sarva Papam Dahana Bamim Guru Bova Oh, Yamantaka. Oh, Adoteka Yamantaka. Oh, Adoteka Yamantaka. Dake Tsen Korwa, Tomeje, Data, Tamsen Yamja, Niton Tampi, Shinden Koro, Sova.
All my negative actions, aspirations, and terrified and downfalls throughout the meetings.
Oh, Adoteka Yamantaka, Hompe, Sava Pavandana, Pamen Koro, Sova. Oh, Adoteka Yamantaka, Hompe, Sava Pavandana, Pamen Koro, Sova. Adoteka Yamantaka, Hompe, Sava Pavandana, Pamen Koro, Sova. Oh, Adoteka Yamantaka, Hompe, Sava Pavandana, Pamen Koro, Sova. Oh, Adoteka Yamantaka, Hompe, Sava Pavandana, Pamen Koro, Sova. Oh, I don't think I am a dog. Oh, I don't think I am a dog. Oh, I don't think I am a dog. Oh, I don't think I am a dog.
Negative actions, aspirations, and terrified.
Oh, I don't think I am a dog. Oh, Papa, coming for us all. Oh, I don't think I am a dog. So, Papa, coming for us all. Oh, I don't think I am a dog. So, Papa, coming for us all. Oh, I don't think I am a dog. Oh, I don't think I am a dog. Oh,
My negative actions. Oh, I don't think I am in the trouble.
那个天国啊，同你的对着当怎样叫你懂得，天天过着有说哇。我说这个要没那个红被杀了吧，看他们不是。我说这个要没那个红被杀了。我说这个要没那个红被杀了吧，他们不是。那个生活我我们就对着当成样叫你当成，天天过着有说吧。Yamantaka sapare vara, agamra de doso. Yamantaka sapare vara, parinda de doso. Yamantaka sapare vara, reva de doso. Yamantaka sapare vara, reva de doso. Yamantaka sapare vara, aloge de doso. Yamantaka sapare vara, reva de doso. Yamantaka sapare vara, reva de doso.
Oh, destroyer of Yama, great deity, so bottom of page 2, who is fiercely blazing, redemptive brilliance blazes brighter than 100,000 suns. Both great weapons in advance, with most awe-inspiring Yamantaka, I prostrate not.
Om Yamaranda Samaya, Padapalaya, Yamaranda Tadamela me bayo benza amno. Okay, benza is sorry.
Yeah, Benjamin is the hearth and the deity of on the last page in the middle, the hearth and the deity of fire become unobservable. Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Okay, go back.
Okay.
Okay, now we read the World Peace Prayer.
Okay.
Of course.
Anybody need it? The World Peace Prayer?
Anybody not have it?
Yeah, we're waiting for.
Anyone need it?
Yes, I think I do.
I was just asking that.
I have an extra one here.
I have it.
Mine?
That was that.
Friend, I have
Oh,
this.
yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, first I read in Tibetan. Okay, then you do one more time in English.
Do you need a tissue?
It's okay. Oi janele me gonjo zawa san je ba kan je gong po je ne se je zen ro man go ro be man jo so wan de so do dan sha ye go mu la yo san de par sen je lo je de do na sam jo lo ba da Senang Yuan Robe Jin Marma Drabe Maso Dayane Zale Jardon Oson Jumbe Zase Sesam Lonye Mandroze Jaya Menyom Zalen Sadon De Sayo Medan Jungin Jibada Ji bai den lan ce wen to mo son zom len jun de nun si ren ta da nyu de xie xian zhen nen jian ju jian me da men men ru wan ta da ge ju lai san qiu sim qiu ren bu jie ngan ge jin nen nun si sam ju zha Bin co san pe sen dan de ne jiang za len ta wu de jie ba jian jiao san jie den ba da jie yong ne xiao za san jia wa se jie den ben de gong de ge we za wa gan jie be da jia la san na ba ga wen de so da men ben de won de bia jie
To the unfailing sources of refuge, the three jewels and the three roots, and especially Chenrezig, the protector of the land of snows, to noble Tara and Guru Padmasambhava, I pray. Please remember your sacred pledge of former times. Please grant blessings that this aspiration be entirely fulfilled. In this dark age of decline, the thoughts and actions of beings are corrupted, and the balance of the outer and inner elements is lost. Through these causes and conditions, humans and animals alike are seized by epidemics and diseases unknown in the past. They are struck by planetary demons, nagas, evil spirits, dark forces, and elemental spirits. Crops are damaged by blight, frost, and hail, and there is fighting and dispute. Untimely rains, heat waves, and droughts in the world, fear of earthquakes, fire, adversaries, and natural catastrophes, and in particular evil hordes that hurt the teachings, and so forth, cause harm and violence throughout the world. May these be swiftly pacified and vanquished from their very roots. In the minds of all beings, human and non-human, may precious and supreme bodhicitta arise naturally, and free of harmful thoughts and actions. May the minds of all be filled with love for one another. May the entire world enjoy abundant happiness and wealth. May the Buddha's teachings spread far and endure long. By the truthful power of the three roots, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by whatever virtuous roots there are in samsara and nirvana, and by the power of our highest pure intention, may this aspiration be fulfilled.
So now
Rinpoche is going to offer the reading transmission of a Manjushri sadhana.
Jambai Kisampe, Driptap Hindu Dipa Hinawa Yisawa Yoso Laman Jangu Yeme Latune Yisampe, Driptam Dordunja. Devetin La Japsang Mondola, Conjo Samdan Laman Jambala, Dadando Nam Data Japsanche, Majo Senje, Sanje Tosasa, Mundanjo Sanjo Semji, Semchoji Bajalensa. Omishone Danjana Benzo Soba, Mago Fang, Dong Bengal, Nazo Bemata, Danye de Ramasa, Ozeramba Tele, Ondre, Java Conjun, Dodo de Pajan, Sote on Jodani Jambayan, Thomas and Dohaji Sa Niba. Yebe Hirabra, Puntesa, Yumbe Toka, Tepsi, Opal, Yohan and Zekasa Punyote. Zemdren Don Raja Belen Wamjin, Sabung Ajin, Tongden Tozonze, Nazoran Jin Jin Dan Tajela, Doje Hian, Zem Sin Bi Zemba, Nesum Dosum Karman Ting Ting Le Wundri, Hizamba Jin Zhang Jian Zhao, Bang Dada Nimi Ten Layan Tole Wundru Ringala, Jin Dan Medo Buddha Mame de Shaze Romo Dan Jin Jubambo, Masawata Dangada, Abekanza Dama, Shiso, Pum Chu Jiwo, Newango, Kogan Trama, Dajin Cholama. Jiwan Jenana Wujin Jiwan La Dagulula Temba Jo Omen Jishire Jana Sadon Benza Argam Sarva Benza Mega Samira Sawarina Samaye Hong Kong Yin Padin Pipe Dipe Alokan Gendened Shabda Dadiza Yesova Topa Jepa Kaluma Kanga Lord Demi Trinanya Nambarazawa, Tinidongo Jegazani Jatoka Lewanzin, Kanda Sepe Sona Maramato Dongarchizeva, Roso con la Petita in La Trujan Song, Rota Chedoni Munion, Lady Jado Rose, Maramasa Donganya Jenny Jonzera Denam, Denita Sabinda de Luzo Jazede, Chutajan, Jin Dalomos and Jabayan, Lando, Yona Colin Chamapo, Ishidumir of them by Jenny Momuso and Jabayan La Chanza. Toka Nyede Mundang Ranje, Sendo Wujera Yen Gorja, Sendru Sode Jagon Sente de Mundan Laon Dripe, no Yayagan, Joji Senjan Dribaja. Randela Jogon Janga Do, Zun Sound Latem Jo, Owanga Shorema, Owanga Shorema. Owanga Shorema, She Jun Tro Trabe Junu da, Tranin Sen and Buntra Toki Ship. Tenta zoburan banda dawo nojo yaran rani jang togam mamdam yaran nadapa ramdam me donza de jala yan jamba pa goro jo yeme jolan na yen jo mulan na zedin jo jen jira wo da ja dalu da mom ba rosan ka dan din ju yong lo do ba ye lo de po pa na wa da da so kan zai da wan de ba han jong zai de wan do na yang gu mo jen yin jin yin ne ke me ba nan thong wa hyo Sobju nam kan te tobe simjing kundu drupsu se chetan jayan jose pa daka chupan ten da yo te tan jamba yi ki senpa ye komde nying pondo dunde nyi cha la mantra le tse da la so pa to nyen ga ye me pa kong wa len drewe re na karma ba de ja sho ba ok ta nga su ka se
Chuchipa.
Su tesan ta tola yore rewa. Tena nga so yang chiban rawa yo na tila ling ka xie chi jaga yin tata.
So we have a little bit of time, so if there's anyone online who has any questions, we can take questions.
There was one request online for the lung of the daily practice and fire puja text. We just did that. We're complete. Thank you.
Che si faya pe jaga long do lo se.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. We're going to go to Ryan. Up ahead. Yeah.
Hi, Ramesh. So there's a moment where it says, we use Oma, it's, we expel the negativity from our nostrils, and then it says, bless with nectar, Oma Hom. And are we blessing the sesame seeds, or are we blessing the fire with Oma Hom? And how is that visualized exactly?
Tega ti black seed sinapsika yore. Chupa jen rawa.
You're blessing the offering substances of black sesame seeds.
Jatang owa honka sinapsidu tatela rikhen ramada mambo yonga yore te om jindu yung namka kaang si om ka mambo speri yore aye robyu pusom cho si aga tani mambo yoba tsa ma tsa ka tani tela chik chubi zeta sola chik ro tang nipa ta so yang pusom cho pa yo jo chik ti honka ishi dur tsen yor sa hongla tene ti ro tang nipa pusom cho pa yoba tsa ma tsa pa tong ishi ji dur tsen ayi ishi ji dur tsen si na ta nyu mongpa ne so tumni chi la ishi ji dur tsen se ka yorwa ong kan do yo nam ka kang aya ro jun pusom cho honka ishi dur tsen yor si de tsam sa tendo la pa yo ong a hong som la pa kap su
There's lots of different explanations for the syllables Om Ahong and the way that they relate, or the way that they connect to the substances. So Om makes the substances pervade space, so it multiplies them by a lot, so it increases them. Ah makes their flavor and potency like excellent. So not only is there now many substances, but their flavor, their energy is very potent and appropriate. And then Hong transforms it into nectar, into dutsi or ambrosia. So what do we mean by it actually transforms it into the nectar of timeless knowing? We mean that it transforms the afflictions into timeless knowing. So sometimes Om Ahong is said to be that Om pervades space, Ah transforms the flavor and energy, and Hong transforms it into wisdom nectar.
Ni lo to.
A question online from Simone. You can unmute.
Yeah, I have a short question. Do we necessarily have to use sesame seeds, or maybe if we have, I don't know, mustard seeds, or maybe pepper seeds, I don't know?
Ter grang go yore. Ter na bote. Tada nga so te jinsa ze chik jinsa sina. Te chetang jinsa je pal ze na ka mangbu go yore ba. Ila ze chik jinsa se tu hiwa ke jinsa yina ter rang go yore. Ter na bote. Gang yong yong chek cho sa mare.
You actually must have the black sesame seeds. So this is called a fire puja with one offering substance. There are more elaborate fire pujas that use so many substances, but this is a fire puja which uses a single substance, and that for a pacifying single substance fire puja, it must be black sesame seeds.
Thank you. Lindra, I'm going to pin you, and do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Okay. Hello, Lamala. There were a series of texts that were sent out in an email yesterday. Will we have permission to practice all of those after the retreat?
Which text?
They're all Rigzin Chogi Drapas, Rinchen Punsuk, Lun Dorjes, the Fire Puja, and the Nundra text. There was 5.
Te nyamle sidu te chamada goling ne pa yo marwa. Te mangbo je yo no den sarpo ma chawa che yong yo ro. Chik rang ten nyamle se den de yo re. Chama go je yo mare.
This is the answer. There's no certainty. There's no requirement that you need all of them. In fact, if you try to incorporate all of them, it's likely to become muddled. So it's better to just work with one.
Thank you. I understand.
Nyamle se na ngarang sem ngone thong mo thoba. Ta kargazo tesom gazo yore lab yamba karsa. Tene yedam che drum na ngone ta ne yakun drum mo thoba nga so tesom gazo yore lab yamba. Ten de te 전혀 망보 단적 던져서 냠리 야보 지 영토 배 찍랑서 된 대가리 다 될라 한 축사래.
So as I said yesterday, that which kind of prevents our meditation from taming our mind is doubt. So that which prevents our accomplishing the Yiram deity is doubt. And if we consult too many texts, it can do the same thing. It can muddy the waters.
Thank you. Joanne, I've pinned you. Would you like to ask your question?
Hi, Lamala. My question has to do with your sharing from your iPhone yesterday. The 17-syllable mantra. Is that something that would be good for us to listen to? You had mentioned that it was used for the Drup Chen, and I'm wondering if it would be helpful to listen to it at home.
Yenan samsani tata nga kiti yang se yale yorwa. Tendre tang tela nyu teni ti chala chapchik to ngaranga nyimban dong hi te tendre se dena yang kekse na tekte sa pinto chegre. Karere na yang tela yang nu ba che yorwa. Yang la timpe sem te se nendo ni che yore. Te se na nga ta nyimba la yang dang dong ba la yang dang yang mambo yang go jum se yang Koran la Koran ga nuba je yore. Ni ba yang sin de tele tin ba ang sem te sar ka le lao se na ba nen ro ni je. Den de yong go yi song do wa. Ren bo je ga ta ba.
Punki Drew di not so dagas not so mikangla dagas yuna.
Chore.
Okay.
Ma yimbala no pa mina. Ma yimbala no pa ona tini yang tang na yakpo marwa. Ma yimba gapo mena. Chira chikpo na tang de yakpo re.
So there's the 11-syllable mantra, there's a 17-syllable mantra, and in essentially there's not any difference between them. But there are melodies to the particular mantras that can make our practice of mantra more beneficial. And that is because the melodies themselves have a kind of potency, and they aid our mind in resting. So if we listen to the melody of the approach mantra and the different mantras, it can bring a kind of power to our practice and make our mind, make it so our mind rests easier. And so then the translator clarified, so is it okay to just have it kind of going at the house? And the answer is yes, that's totally fine to just play the recording of the mantra as long as it doesn't bother anybody else. So if somebody else doesn't really like it, it's better not to play it. But if it's just you or it's not bothersome, then you can play it, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. Denise, I'm going to pin your, if you would unmute and ask your question, please.
It's actually, thank you, Lamala, for this wonderful teaching. My question has to do with pretty much the same question that was asked. So if there was a difference between the 11 and the 17 syllable mantra, that's been answered, thank you. So where would we find the melodies for each of these? And could we have a written a version of the 17 syllable? I wrote it by sound yesterday, so I would like to see it to make sure that I have it the right way. And the other question would be, I heard yesterday that there was a protecting and a repelling mantra. Are they the same? Just two names of the same mantra, which is the longer one? Thank you.
The chuchik padang chudumpa ki nga dria jutu kribes.
Tate kani rago mashite tapache yoja mare. Yena te kachang la yamba. Te hana mata bindas drusum drutuk mangadwa. Te patri yana pachen driksari charan soka.
Okay.
Hana mata bindas.
There's really not somewhere that's written that would be easy for us to provide the written version of the 17-syllable mantra. But as I said yesterday regarding the 11-syllable mantra, it's the root mantra plus hana, mata, binda. So the root mantra plus hana, mata, binda. And that makes 11 syllables.
Kashi dadang de tesa kapo yoro yenandra. Tata hana mata binda te le laure dowa. Inchina na ti dadang de takta yongo dowa.
Yeah.
Tendra se chiran soko patri yana choye.
Hana, mata, binda are relatively easy to write in English script, so that's better. So yeah, we could write it out, in English and send it to the folks.
She recorded the 17-syllable mantra melody, so I'm going to make a loop of it and send it out.
So David's going to make a loop of the 17-syllable mantra that Rinpoche recorded on a loop, and then we'll all have that as well. Then a sungak dang doknak chikpa rebes.
Chikpa mare tesa kakarwa. Yena tambo ten jambar zongkor. Hinje zongkor nga ke nimpon rawo te chikpa rewa. Tini fiin jogla. Tini ko sungwa kan chenle tang dokpa kan chenle leka ni kaka yindu. Tini lebyor tetso tesa kakare de yore.
So the protection mantra and repelling mantra are not the same, they're different. But first, when we begin the sadhana and we practice the protecting sphere of Manjushri Yamantaka, that's the root mantra, the same mantra. But then later, when we get into the application of enlightened activity, there's the protecting enlightened activity and the repelling enlightened activity, and they have different mantras.
Wonderful. There seems to be some questions online about how to do the fire puja at home and whether or not someone can use their fireplace at home or a vessel with a charcoal brick.
Tata zeki jimsek tena le laurwa. Me chung ji una chogrwa.
Okay.
Sora ke me. Chung ji na tini ten rama ka he chen den sen ni ba tong he ten rama ka he ji nyon tan ten te no ba yo marwa. Ten de so sin yam ne sen ten na yam ne sen de yo re.
So this fire puja that we did today, utilizing a single substance, is quite easy to perform. And so you can just have like a little, it's not actually a fire. I'm telling the online people mostly, it's not really a fire. It's more like the aftermath. So it's like wood that has been burned into black coal, kind of, embers. That's what you want to be using. You can have it really small. And you can just do it at home, just like with a little bit of, a little fire and a little bit of practice, that's fine.
Tene nga tso te nyingpa, xinjin chanla dene tene dawa chik la chan chanla dogore labyan pa. Te tsadu, te jimsek te, chucha chik, gyacha chu, jinsek te sakwa yorwa. Tene, ta saya chik chucha chik, te tam bom chik riwa, bom chik la chan riwa. Te taw chang sakwa yorwa, te la nyima mambong go riwa. Ako suma, te du nga tso tendre seke yore. Me chung je nana jana tene, tata ti adro te ka tang tendre sene chang sa na. Nima mangbo la, shiva jin se te. Nima ya tso te inke me ji shiva jin se te gogore. Ka kong ke chet.
So we talked throughout the weekend about the month-long 3-day retreat that you do for the mantra accumulation. And after that, if you're actually going to do that, after that, it's required to do a fire puja, not just a fire puja. So you do 10% of the mantra repetitions that you accumulated throughout your month-long retreat. So it should be about 100,000, which will take about a week, or many days. It doesn't say a week, many days. So for that, you can just do a very small fire and just kind of keep going until you've done 10% of the mantras that you accumulated throughout your month-long retreat of the Atrateka root mantra. And it should be a pacifying fire puja like we did today. And that is like a rectifying practice to rectify any mistakes you may have made during your mantra accumulation.
Thank you. And there was a question about that retreat and whether or not it's possible to do it at home.
That's it. Yeah.
Chevnari. Natun samla deni na sosin samkang na desi yorba. Solo la sekon nyima takwa namhi yabo yo tam me ha ko mara. Sosin na la me chung je. De zang.
Di datsam gi ngatso kangpala de tu kirbe.
De to gore.
Samdila. Okay.
De to go de sosin kamba kawayo ha tel ra le. Chirang tronchen na na una kabo ra ba. Ti verman de da yo na te pe samkang na chikpa re do wa.
Of course you can do it at home, but if you're in the middle of a city, it might be a little bit difficult. Like if you're somewhere like Vermont, it's just like, your home is just like being in a retreat cabin.
Thank you. Okay, there's several questions. We're going to go to the temple
Thank you again for the teachings. I had a quick question to follow up on that mantra accumulation. Is it 1,100,000 for Om Akroteka, and then 1,100,000 for the protection mantra. And for a lay practitioner that can't take the 30 days, is it okay to use this as a daily practice and do maybe Akroteka first, and then after you're done with that one, then go ahead and focus on the protection one? Thank you.
nge dasang ke cham de de du nimba de chikpare cham ado te kare nimba ka kap so ado te kam bam trok go go yore la yamba
Boom juk. That's up.
nyenin kap so bam sum go go yore teni dripa ka kap so bam ching do go yore nimba chikpa chi chan re
That's up.
yena mekpa kha kare
Ale, that's up.
teni te jil du drup sin leshin do ya che yore leshin do ya te la ya nimba te karan re ado te karan re mekpa kha kare wa te la bam chik go go yore
Dine kongi ngatso lega chegona, dine ngatso tsamna de matupna, ngatso dagas kali
kale nyamle sena ya
yege.
nyamle sena ya drek dan drek yore te ke dasang chana ya pa na yi ko chu go yo mare
Lasa.
dasang cham te pe tombo se de gro
The mantra for the month retreat remains the same. It's just the root mantra, the Atroteka mantra. So the mantra stays the same, but the visualization changes. So you do 600,000 repetitions of the approach visualization, same mantra, Atroteka mantra. Then you do 300,000 repetitions of the close approach visualization, same mantra, okay? Then you do 100,000 repetitions of the accomplishment mantra. So the accomplishment visualization is where you start to do more of the activity. But again, it's the same Atroteka mantra. So that's about the mantra. And then if you can't stay in a strict retreat for a month, can you do the practice daily to kind of add up to a month retreat? The answer is you can definitely do a daily practice, but you can't equate it to the month retreat. The month retreat is quite strict.
Thank you. I'm going to go online, and then I'm going to come back to the temple. Okay. Madeline, would you like to unmute and ask your question? Excuse me if I got your name wrong. Oh. Madeline, did we lose you? Perhaps some technical difficulties. We're going to come back to you. And we'll go to the temple. Alex.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche. I appreciate your teaching. Could you talk about the structure of the month-long retreat, how to structure the daily practice so that it is authentic?
karse
Datsang la dedu tun katse gogedus.
tun ye gore tun ye
Tunji karares.
tun
Tunji.
yin do ya de chik pa wa chara te shoja ga ngon ni tun che go yo wa pe na chu chu tro ne je pa de tun che re wa tene je ne go chu chu te de la khala sa ya ro shoja sa ya ro go ne ju ni pa le tun che re wa jo ni ne chu chu ni pa pa to de ni chara te se lo lo se de cho ro wa ni pa ne nga pa de tun che re wa nga ni de ni chok pa de chara khala sa gonda khala sa cho re wa chok ni je pa de tun che re wa che tan ro tan ti na je se ko re.
So the structure of the month-long retreat is you do 4 sessions of meditation a day. So the first session would be before your morning tea. That's Tibetan for breakfast. So probably like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. And then 8 to 9, you can have your tea or breakfast. And then 9 to 11, you do your second session. And then you have a break in the midday. You can relax, eat your lunch. And then from 2 to 5, you could have your third session. And from 5 to 6, you have a break. And then 6 to 8 p.m., you have your last session of the day. Something like that.
Thank you. The loan that you just gave before the question and answer period, would you please tell us the name of that sadhana?
Di jampal ki dumtap ki
Sorry?
sen karares. Di lung nangwa di jampal ki dumtap karares.
Jamba ko dutan dor dupa che yore, pe dupo che.
Sen karare. Pecha ki sen.
Yeshi nangwa jeta, yeshi nangwa shisa was.
Yeshe nangwa.
Jeta.
It's a very concise Manjushri practice called Yeshe Nangwa, so the appearance of timeless knowing.
I'm sending that out to people today.
It will be sent out to people today.
Thank you so much, because there was a series of questions about Manjushri. Yesterday it was spoken that Manjushri to be accomplished before Yamantaka, and so is this the practice that people would do? Yes.
다상거 ngolан jamba yang nipa yodin den pecho sena chogo yore. Tata nupso palan de pecho sena chogo yore. Maso poni te jamba yang nipa yodin de mare. Dele mansa rimbo je yore tere. De pe tong tong rwa. Yena da America lan mambo te yonga marwan de tong tong de pecho sena chogo yore sare.
Yeah, so you can utilize this very concise Manjushri sadhana that we just received the reading transmission for to do the Manjushri mantra repetitions that you should do before the month-long Yamantaka retreat. But like for us in Tibet, we use a much longer, more elaborate Manjushri sadhana. But because in America people don't have much time, you can use this if you want, yes.
Thank you. There's a question in the temple, and then I'm going to come back to you folks online. Staying, right?
So actually, just a quick question about that. Like back in Escondido, DKC, we have the Manjushri practice within the volume 1. Is it acceptable just to do that practice and then at the mantra use the Om Vamnishwari Om?
Kari yore si kosala. What do you have?
Yeah, what do you have?
Escondido?
At DKC volume 1, that's all of our prayer book for the sadhanas.
Oh.
We have a Manjushri practice inside.
Oh.
So would it be acceptable just to use that book? Because it's the same visualization, correct? Like, you have the generation and then the light rays, the mantra garland. And then just use the Om Vamnishwari Om, or is this practice completely different?
Te driptap karin do mo do te kechega mare. Ngen sam sam la kochol te driptam dong gori la ko me. Mambo che hinji do ala shung do yore jamba yang nimba yogo yore ba. Nge driptap de tong tong rimbo tong tong dong go gere kanya la ko me. Nge kare la ko yo sene mikpa sitan de la ko yo. Mikpa sitan de o cherang so tangbo te tangbo tongba la gom. Tongba nani teni tangbo yege deche gom namkala. Yege deche gom te ranga sen tangchi nisime peke yege deche gom. Teni ti de te nenjo ne jebchen jambe yang lan jorson samba gom. Teni ti tukala yang Davidin tola deyo pache gom. Teni tela on wanga shore korde wache gom. Teni tele uzen chune. Sanje tamje lan chu pambo ya ta. Semjin tamje ka dripa janya ta so dongni se jin do. Tende gom. Teni nga dawa kapse tende mukba se ne gom so te la yo. Sadana dongko gri la ko me. Karen isen na khahe khabon do wa. Pejan dong ya tangbo ra gon do pecha ra gon do teni 인제 민제 된 동고 고리 삼리게 고랑솔에 양대서 농형다고 찍려고도 다 님바다고 가서 맥바도 세히나 사다나 가르도는 마도는 제바요 말에
it really doesn't matter which Manjushri sadhana you utilize. In fact, I think it bears clarification. So I wasn't actually saying you need to do a whole other Manjushri sadhana. I was talking about visualizing Manjushri first. So here's how it would go. First, everything resolves into emptiness, like space. And then within that space comes a D syllable. Then you merge your mind.
Oh, D marida, mum.
Oh, mum. Okay. Not D, but mum. Okay, so out of empty space, there's a mum syllable. You merge your mind inseparably with the mum syllable. Then you transform into the enlightened form of Manjushri. Hold on, no. Okay, here we go. It's just empty. Everything is empty space. In the empty space, there's a mum syllable. You merge your mind inseparably with the mum syllable. Yes. So then you transform into. It transforms into Manjushri, and then there is a moon seat, and then on the moon seat is the mantra Om.
Mum seat is his heart.
In his heart.
Mum seat. Moon seat, on the moon seat syllable. Mum. Orange color. Then surrounding on wa ge sho re. Mum is the center. 6 syllable. Focus to that. Then recite mantra. Same time.
Then light can radiate from that mantra, the mantra garland and the seed syllable, making offerings to all of the victorious ones. Then coming back, then light can radiate again, purifying the misdeeds and obscurations of living beings. So it isn't that you actually need a particular sadhana, because it can be difficult for us to get a sadhana, and then we have to think we need the transmission and all these things. So it's really just this visualization.
Oh, hold on. I'd like to give you the microphone, please.
Oh, okay.
Just for our friends.
Tata sadhana chunin dongo ga mare lawgo mare dayang.
Oh yeah.
Te tona chore te madona chore lawgo yoraba. Nge kosola tap deose ngatsota hinji do takban chogo yoraba. Hinji do ala te manji shire manta request yoraba. Hago maso. Hinji do ala hyogona tambo manji shire manta sago gore. Teni mamambo ga geja chige do ngala. Koso hyondo yoraba. Teni nge sadhana dongo gore lawga me kira manji shire nyemban dombo ka smekpa tenda o sigo gore lawgo yo.
Okay. I'm also not saying you shouldn't practice a Manjushri sadhana. That's also not what I'm saying. You can practice a Manjushri sadhana. You don't have to practice a Manjushri sadhana. So for example, before you sit in a Yamantaka Drupchen with us, you are requested to accumulate a certain amount of Manjushri mantras. And so I get a lot of questions about this, which sadhana and so forth. You can use a sadhana, or you can do this visualization. They're both fine.
I was actually wondering recently, is there a history or a story around why Drikung uses Om Wagishwari Mum? Because don't most Manjushri, they say Om Arapatsanadi, most lineages?
Jambe yang la nyimpa ndamanda mambo yoraba. Chitang jambe yang ke nyimpa te ta arapazana de te chap chewan do cha de yoraba. Ina nga so ta tan rong gu jupa de. On wang ge shor mam se jitin jambar yang jambar la re mambo yore. Jambar na sing sin. Jambar na we sing sin che yore. Te ke nyimpa re wa. Jamban nasen ke nyimpa re. Jamban nasen nga so hinji ke jupa tela hian jamban nasen tan dewa desar ke tan sen tani wa chade. Ta nasen lan de gari chira. Poke teni. Jamba ya mambo yore.
So there are actually lots of different Manjushri mantras because there's lots of different forms of Manjushri, or lineages of Manjushri both. So the Om Arapatsanadi mantra of Manjushri is just the most famous, the most widespread. But the Om Warishwari that we use in the Drikung Kagyu, that is just a different type of Manjushri practice. It's Manjushri Nasing, so it's close to this lineage of Manjushri Nasing.
Yeah.
Nasing.
We have another question in the temple.
I have just a follow-up question about the practice that you just described of Manjushri, the sort of simplified visualization. And if we do have the aspiration to accumulate, say, 600,000 mantra recitations, would we just begin the day with opening prayers, start the visualization and mantra recitation, and sustain that for however long we can, and then do closing prayers at the end of the day and say that's finished? Is that sort of how the setup would be?
Chun re re la opening and closing prayers go gudue yang nima re re kandres.
Mune sena gogo yore. Tön rel tambo te konlong gogorwa. Nyamne seni zonte konlong gyugorwa. Teni jini hoa gorwa. Yena ngaso tata lukso ndawala shoka la te chamdo senji te se. Teni gonda la hoa mona te se. Tön rere yende tende hip tsabu sigamudwa. Te ta sa kanza soso ta go yore. Te nyen kangla chira nyamne kangla tende sena. Ne toko yona teni shoka chamdo senji te gonga hoa mona sena rekin toko yorwa. Yang tön rere nyamne se che ti par te teni yang che chitang ka che lekasi go ya tan che chitang ka che activity de mambo yona. Te ngwa se go yore.
In general, the tradition is that for each session of meditation that you do, you have the opening prayers and the closing prayers. So the opening prayers are when we create the proper motivation for the practice, and the closing prayer is where we dedicate the virtue that we've accumulated to all beings. So those two facets are crucial. That's the tradition. But also, still, there's a way where in the morning we go for refuge and we cultivate bodhicitta. And then if we're actually able to remain in meditation practice the entire day, more or less without interruption, then in the evening we dedicate the virtues that we've accumulated. So you have to kind of look at your own situation and look at what you're up to. If you have kind of a more distinct sessions, and in between those sessions you do something, some kind of ordinary normal activity, then before you do the break you should dedicate the merit, and when you sit back down you should begin again.
Te karare sena gewa drup yapate kin ka helete ne ko mepa cha do yore. Ta karo cha nga an konron do san chik sena tene gecha te jom do yore. Tene mala chik magawan do ta te malan trukpa jago wan do ta yang che kecha mangbo hen che tang sende cha chang de ordinary do cha tende sena te gal sena gecha jom do ye te majong nguni te ngwa se yana te gecha te jom go mare la byorwa pen de terang tata pesha te sar ke top sona che te terang lamsam pa kondo ngan na pa jog yana te ni che timbo ro wa te terang ka paket na na ya song de na te se na ko ma ke kondo sigro wa tap ti na yire.
And the reason for that is there are some circumstances which can come along and destroy your roots of virtue that you've accumulated. So if you accumulate virtue and you get mad, that can destroy those roots of virtue. If you get in a fight with someone, even if you just talk a lot in an ordinary way and your mind turns ordinary again, that can destroy the roots of virtue. So before these roots of virtue get destroyed, if you dedicate them, then they're safe, they're protected, they're inconquerable. So for example, let's say you earn some money. What you want to do with that money is you want to put it in the bank to keep it safe. So let's say you don't do that and you keep some like big money in your pocket. It's possible someone comes along and steals it. So you want to like stabilize what you've done and you want to protect it.
Tata nga tso kowa lama tunin chando goju te jujin tse kariri sena nga tso ko huwa yapo che mashine jikten song ko te song le nga tso ke gewa yang mambo do yo re sa nema gewa ngama la gewa yang mambo do yo te yena yapo huwa yapo che yo ma re sa tele tine geza zo song re sa tene huwa yapo che shina te nga tso tata ke ne tang ta sa 용게 요래서 직대성고 대성도와
Jigten Sumgun has said that the reason for our continuing to wander in cyclic existence is because we have not in our previous lives understood how to dedicate properly. So we've actually done in our previous lives many virtuous, wonderful activities, but because we didn't know to dedicate them and to protect them, they zoked. They evaporated. That's not the right word. Exhausted. They got exhausted. They got exhausted. Sounds like they got tired. But anyway, you know what I mean. And so if we don't know how to dedicate the roots of our virtue, then the virtue that we accumulate is has the risk of like dying out and not continuing to benefit.
Pe karere sena sanje ken do no karsong yore sena nga cholo chu kap kan yona chu kap kan yona te sai gan log yana lamsan kan ro gre ba yona bo dega marwa te jamso na log yana jamso ta na log yana ta yona bo jamso ta ka che ne ba de ne de gre sa tina yi.
It says in a sutra of the Buddha that if you have a cup of water and you pour that water onto the ground, that water will quickly evaporate and dry up. But if you pour that water into the ocean, then as long as that ocean persists, that water likewise persists. And so that's the way it works when we dedicate our virtue.
Hi, Lama. Quick question. This is regarding the preliminaries and Nundro specifically. With a typical Nundro preliminary sadhana, you start with like refuge, four immeasurables, supplication to Vajradhara's lineage, 7-limb prayer, Sanskrit vow to kind of cleanse the vowels, 100-syllable mantra, and then you contemplate on the common outer preliminaries. I didn't see this in the sadhana, so would one add that to complement the sadhana for a Nundro, or would you just follow the Nundro as is for that particular sadhana?
Yeah, cancel.
Tate nimba ngondo ka kapsa mangbo yojo te tangone tane chamba sene nyamle se bu kapsa ro tende mangbo jin do ne lokso yore te kare chen chungwa re sena ta kare sene chungwa re da sena ta nimba re la pinyo re song yore wa ka he de ni nimba te la na te ni ngarang so ke nyamle te 망로 로렌다고 텐다고 그 님밤만 가시 망보 열어봐. 산제게 송자죠. 되니 라마 가시 그 오텐도 근데 자진보리도 파워풀이도 된다는 거사리지. 야야. 되게 와양 요제 전부 약고는 부고도 불야 그 님바이가 대한 거사리지 야야. 된데서는 마음 친송하래. 얘는 대제나 야보래. Serious practitioner, 참을 되니 또 솔로 원로를 되나 요래 되니 다다야 사다나도 솔라야 사다나 코랑근 로당제 요래 된데 망보대 원로가 값을 요 말에 대연아야 만들받아 요 말에
For serious practitioners who want to like really devote themselves to these practices, like in a retreat setting or in a serious practice setting, there are lots of like kind of additional mantras that each have their own benefit. So, for example, and they harken back to the Buddha. So, for example, there's a mantra which, if you say it before your mantra repetition, is said to like increase the power of that mantra repetition. And so there are some lamas who hear about that and they say, that's really powerful, that's really important, and so they add that mantra in. Or, okay, there's another mantra that, that will bring all of the conducive circumstances that you'll need for practice, so let's bring that in. That's also really important. And so there's become like all of these supplementary additional mantras that are included for serious practitioners that are all really wonderful. They're all excellent. They're great. In our particular Ngondro, these auxiliary mantras aren't there, and that's okay. But if you want to add these extra cleansing and like power, empowering mantras, that's fine. There's no problem with that.
Tene yang nyempa kashete champa yena nga jugo yorwa lunga yisum nyamlen te kona gagang tebe go yorwa ta gong la te a e la sopa la pa kapsu teni zon te ta nga jugo yin se yore kamran ke jam shen nga ju ya yorwa silent ta tisi be je de yang gong de nyempa kashen dong ya ta te lunga yisum chik mune jane ke gewati nyamne te tipo ka gang la tene sen tene tam chan ro sen tene nga so nam je nyamne te so nga yang ju go yo ma wa gang thup thup ro se ya re ma to yin che ka men che ka tene diglam ta mon ro che ta tene yo ma wa tene le tine te sa ko yang wan ro de che te re
But retreatants do like auxiliary practices to create the proper kind of framing of their body, speech, and mind. And so like in a retreat setting, you are silent, you aren't talking. And so it's a kind of vow that you take to only recite these mantras with your speech. You're only using your voice for these sacred sounds. And so we're not able to do that. So to kind of like connect with that, there's like the Ali Kali, the A, A, these like Sanskrit vowels and consonants that were like said by these, they're like potentized, you know, syllables said by these more serious silent retreat settings.
Time for a few more questions?
Okay.
Okay. Our friend Madeline wrote a question in, and she said, for retreat, are there dietary restrictions or suggestions?
Garso?
Samla they do kala mixel kala sago grabes.
Mixa kala ja go mare. Jitang kala kendre yore.
Nope, whatever you want to eat.
Excellent. Elijah asks a question in the chat. Can one use the Yamantaka practice to remove obstacles to one's main Yidam practice? Would, let's say, if a practitioner mother tantra, would learning a father tantra complement one's overall practice?
Just yeah.
Ni, do a ni do. Tangpoti. Ngato Yidam shendak nyamanchena. Yine barche jungna ngato shinje she Yaman chena barche seltu kiribes. Yunam yaman
Really,
chena.
really. Yes, Dokutela.
So the first question, can you use Yamantaka to dispel obstacles for another year of practice? Yes. Dene Nato Magyu Kinyaman Chenkenyena, Pagyu Kinyaman Chena, Dene Nyampo Drabo Chakarabes.
Maju, Paju, Labdena, Mabdena, Chepar Sheda, Yo married. Karando Chepar, Majul, Karando, Pajul, Karando, ya. When is in the Labdena, Mabdena, Tunda, Momate, Rananga, Sam, the third time, the thing on this. Maju, Paju, and Itachi, Tesarke, Sarwatang, Tombate, Zondong, Chichong, Tesa, Yori, Lagu, the Mato, Mones and Tonda, Tiparia. Tendechi lapsor yorite, ina. Nikal ko sem ka netan to ngotro ko se yore, sem ka netan to nyamne si ju, sem ka netan to se go yore, ju kanda chena.
Then the second question, if you practice Mother Tantra, will practicing something from the Father Tantra bring balance? Mother Tantra, Father Tantra, what do you even mean by that? So you should, the meaning of all the Tantras is to look at the nature of your own mind. Yes, there are some teachings that describe, slight differences in these tantric approaches, but essentially they're one and the same meaning. The meaning of all of them is to look at the nature of your mind.
Thank you. And our friend Simon has another question. Okay to ask?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Simon.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a bit confused with everything that you said about the sadhanas and the mantras and everything. So it's just like short questions to clarify. The first one, if I understood correctly, we should accumulate the Manjushri mantra / visualization just to be part of the 1 month Yamantaka retreat or group chant, or is it required to even begin to engage in the practice? That's the first one.
Yeah.
Te Kazan La Yimba. Jambar Hiva Nyamnes, you the Tambo Sego Yore. Tambo. Pajan Yama Jozang Gogo.
So, Druptap, Dagas Druptap Yaman Chegiana, Jampal Yang Sako Grebe. The Dagas Druptap Drabo Tung Tung Mato Yaman Chegiana. Then the Nyamlen Machenguna, Jampal Yang Sako Grebe.
They are Comas of Cursor.
The Shinji She Nyamlen Machenguna. Jampal Yang Yamlen Chego Grebe.
Tan Rotan Tender.
Okay.
Rotan Tender. Cararis and Hiva Nyamnes and Tess Lela Yore. Tambo Chiran Sentel Tessa, Jonda Tregoreva. Jonda Matana Tabo countries in Yamnesiji.
Yeah, so essentially the traditional progression is that you begin with Manjushri. You begin with the peaceful form of Yamantaka, which is Manjushri, and that is because peaceful practice is easier to engage in. It's easier to relate to, and it's a stabilizing force. And until you have some stability, how could you do wrathful practice? So that was it, or was there more?
Oh yeah. So then someone asked if we could practice all the texts, and the Lama said that we should stick to one. So my question is we should not touch the other texts unless we have accumulated the non-dro accordingly. But we can still practice them, something like that.
So I'm interpreting your question to be, should we first do Ngundro and then look at the other texts? Something
Correct.
like that?
Yes.
Yeah. First the preliminaries, then the main practice. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Okay, and my last question is like you talked a lot about the 11, 17 syllable mantra, so I got a little confused. Which one is which mantra? Like according to the numbers, protection, repelling, and so on.
11, 17, tsama de nimpa rewa, nimpa.
So
The
the,
protection marewa that's all.
yeah, so the protection and repelling mantras are a whole different thing. So the it's called nyenpa. So just the like mantra that we use to accumulate is the root mantra Om Atrateka Yamantaka Hongpet. Also there's the 11 syllable, also there's a 17 syllable.
So those are different versions of the same mantra, but they're equivalent.
Yeah, tsama nimpa re te nya chepa hira yo man that's all.
Yeah, there's not too much difference between them.
Thank you.
Rinpoche, I just wanted to clarify from the last question. People now, are they able to do, it's okay for them to do the Yamantaka practice or the Manjushri practice even if they haven't done Nandra? Or is it not okay?
Ta ten rega yo ta me tengune se no sosu soso la twa si yare. Sosu soso la te nyamlin kara gongo na yime pasi to ya ta je tesar ke pa sanga ke tunda de la tesar ke ngarang ke yingo la ta sanga ke tunda de la pa te me pa tang te tesar ke ha ko to ko dona sanga te nyamlin se na chogo yo ba teni tada to pa te so mangbon ra jang jang song de wa yin na teni 다른 되게 냠내서는 양 신호 삼는 양 그 핀토 히라 용 타고 요 말을
The question of whether it's okay or not okay to do sadhana practice before accomplishing Nindro is a personal question that you have to ask yourself. If you are able to do visualization practice stably, if you feel in your mind you encounter the real meaning of secret mantra and you understand it, then you can practice. If, however, you feel that you have a lot of doubts and you're not totally sure, and yet you want to barrel ahead, even if you practice, it might not bring you much benefit. So it's something to get personal about.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Carolina, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question?
Thank you so much. I just had a question, Lamala, and with all due respect and gratitude for your teachings, probably this question is a creation of my muddy mind, but I better just clarify it. And it's in regards of visualization. When doing practice, sometimes I had encountered Yamantaka in white color when doing my visualization practice, and I was wondering, instead of checking on a lot of books and like having more muddy concepts in my mind, if there is anything does the change in color indicate change in the activity that is being expressed or something else entirely, or that I should probably practice more my samadhi? Thank you.
I had a little bit of a hard time hearing you, so can I ask you, are you asking, you've seen Yamantaka in white color, and what does that mean?
Yes, basically if I should just not be focused on the meaning of the color, or if it's really important that if in the sadhana that I'm practicing it says blue, I should visualize it in blue, because it happens just once that I was visualizing and shifted the color without me wanting to, or something like that.
Orang shinje she mikba chedu dene kudo ngumbo yinayang kudo karpo kirso. Digrebes yang mena kudo ngumbo inji minji gogudus.
Te kacang yang ece law yamba. Te chonang la tinin rojo yo mare, ranang. Chowa la tinin rojo yo mare. Inji mi semti chugo yo rwa. Ko kare labdana tina yinga mikba si utuk tago yo re. Nyamle de nga su semla zochi jaya rwa.
So we understood you to say that you were visualizing and then the color changed, and is that okay, or does it have to be blue? So as we said yesterday, we're not like, how do I want to say this? We're not letting our meditation fall to the whims of our feelings. Meditation is to transform our mind. So meditation is the container for our mind's change. So we should stick to the visualization that's presented.
Hinje la kondo kapo ya yosi da sibare. Yena tata nga zo mekpa sibe kapso ti kapso nga zo center zochi jaya ke chedrewa. Kya hinje kondo kapo tana nga zo jemse tang ka zo kapo rindowa. Yena tendus yena ti kapso kapo gongo kare zeda na tina yisi gore.
There are instances where Yamantaka is white in color. For example, we did the pacifying fire puja in which Yamantaka was white in color. But that was during the pacifying fire puja. And here, Yamantaka is not white in color. So we want our minds to stay where we put them.
Teni yana ne terang nyangli pe ne chen thombo cha top cha ne. Teni hinje shar zain che yonga yorwa. Tende yina ne yang kakare. Te gom de ba marwa. Gom de ba mare. Tende yong se bare te.
If you develop very profound power and through the sadhana and you behold Yamantaka face to face, that's a totally different scenario. Then you're not sitting in meditation, you're with the deity, and that's totally possible, but we're talking about meditating.
Thank you. We're finished with questions for now.
Okay. Stop here. 다 가서 욕되는 동안 교란 이게 작게 봤잖아. 그 드럼제도 대로 되는 장요 교래.
So we're going to do the dissolution of the sadhana on page 21.
디 dissolution 그 꼴라티 조람 스도 제바 용다 용거 요래.
We're going to receive teachings on the dissolution this afternoon in more detail.
Ranga toga wong le wong zhe no jo song ka dang lar sarwa wo je nam pa de de kor kan jo song la de kor ka na wo de se pa da la de da nye ge le do me ne wo de she wa hong la de Hong ye xiao jiu kou ban kou wo da zi te le na de bar jiu du xe na dang wo sa tong ba jin ngang do jiu.
Light radiates from the Hong in my heart center. Thereby the visualization of the universe, beings, protective retinue, and deities gathers in the form of light, which dissolves into the 13 protective spheres. The protective spheres become light and dissolve into me. My body melts into light from the top and from the bottom and dissolves into the Hong. The Hong syllable dissolves from its lowest part up to its middle part, then into its upper line, then the crescent, the circle at the top until the nada stroke. Then the nada stroke also dissolves into the state of clear light and great emptiness.
Yang Rani Jomatavu Jamba Shinje Tena Shaje Jani Kolo Tan Jagyo Toba Tuto Je 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 Jin Ye Ko Yon Janga Yen Barju.
Again, I arise as the illusion-like dark blue Manjushri Yamantaka. I have one face and two arms that hold a wheel and an iron hook. Adorned with the 8 charnel ground ornaments, I stand with the right leg bent and the left outstretched.
Deta namba gumde lejong we gewan de ye senje male Pogba jamba tuba lejong we shinje shibo de dan
By the virtue arisen from such meditation and recitation, may all sentient beings without exception become like Yamantaka, who is arisen from the Arya wrathful Manjushri.
Okay. Stop here.
Since we went a little bit beyond 12, we're going to start at 2:30 instead of 2.
Yeah.
Oh, our friends online.
Hi, we're going to start at 2:30 Vermont time. Have a good lunch.